Do you see the shirt? Yeah, this one. This one that says defund gun control. I made this shirt specifically for the video you're about to watch because what you're about to see perfectly explains why gun control is far from free.
The federal government has been working on a gun buyback program for 4 years, but not a single gun has been taken in. Bill C-21, which contains new gun control measures, was passed last year, but some measures are still not yet fully implemented.
Now, a lot of people, especially the ones pushing for gun control, thinks it's free. But here's the reality. Nothing the government does is free. Anytime the government promises you something at no cost, I guarantee you someone's paying for it. And spoiler alert, it's usually your ass. Even worse, with gun control, you're paying twice.
Documents obtained by conservative senators have found that the gun buyback program has cost over $67 million since its announcement in 2020, but is still yet to launch. It's sparking frustration at a program senators allege is not working.
This is an incredible amount of money to spend on a program that doesn't yet exist, which ultimately targets licensed, trained, law-abiding gun owners, not criminals. Minister, will you scrap this program?
No, absolutely not. In fact, we're going to launch the program. We're going to start with phase 1 in the coming weeks that will buy back from gun stores, from gun dealers, well over 10,000 guns that are now illegal and are in their inventory, and that the government will compensate these businesses.
When the government starts talking about buybacks or bans, they're not just screwing you by taking away your rights. They're screwing you and making you pay for it. It's a double slap in the face. Here's what's happening in Canada. They're promising to buy back so-called assault weapons. Granted, this buyback is mandatory. It's not like it's optional. And then let me break it down for you. If I own a SCAR, a gun that runs around $4,000, do you honestly think they're gonna hand me $4,000 to buy it back? No. They're probably offering me pennies on the dollars, maybe a couple $100 at best. So now I'm losing out on the money I spent on that gun, and on top of that, they're using my tax dollars to pay for this entire mess. So I'm getting hit twice, losing my gun and funding the program that's taking them away. That's why I made this shirt. Defund gun control, because it's not just ridiculous, it's highway robbery. And don't think this is just a Canadian problem. It could easily happen here in the US too. A few years ago, I did a video breaking down how the US gun control laws are robbing citizens blind. In 2000, Maryland spent $5 million on a bullet ID program. The program lasted 15 years and didn't solve a single crime, not a single one. A national gun buyback program would on the low end cost the American people $3.2 billion and on the high end, $16 billion. Anti-gun politicians also want to force people to register their AR-15s and standard capacity magazines under the National Firearm Act.
The way to deal with those guns and those AR-15s and assault weapons that are on the street, are not on the street, that people own, is to do what we did with the National Firearms Act as it related to machine guns. You must register that weapon. You must register it.
To register each one of your guns and magazines under the National Firearm Act, it'll cost you $200 per gun per magazine. Even voluntary local gun buybacks are a waste of money. In 1974, Baltimore had a buyback program paying people $50 a gun for 3 months. They got 13,400 guns. The city spent $670,000 to buy broken and useless guns that weren't a danger to anyone in the first place. No one is selling good guns for $50 when you can take the same gun to a gun store if you're a criminal on the black market and get triple that amount. If you adjust that amount for inflation, that's $3.6 million that they spent. They're literally funding criminals' new gun purchases. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Then guess what? It's the same story today. It's nothing more than a money laundering scheme for politicians. Yeah, you heard me right. Politicians are pretty much lining their pockets with these anti-gun programs as far as I'm concerned, and all the while stripping you of your rights. I wouldn't be shocked if these programs are just funneled to companies run by their buddies, and then those buddies kick back to the politicians. So not only do they gain power by restricting your Second Amendment right, they're probably getting rich doing it too. But here's the big takeaway from all of this. How did Canada get here in the first place? About 4 years ago, Canada had a mass shooting, and the response was immediate. They banned our AR-15s and so-called assault weapons. Then they went further and banned handguns, hoping it would solve their problems. But guess what? It didn't. It didn't. Nothing changed. In fact, in between those times, Canada had a mass stabbing where 10 people were killed and 15 were injured. This proves what we've known all along. You can't legislate your way to safety. Here's the deal. You can't ban violence. No matter what laws you pass, criminals will find a way. So why do they keep trying to? Because at the end of the day, this is what happens when you let politicians chip away at your rights. Sure, it's Canada, but don't be fooled. This could easily happen in the US too if we're not careful. Canada is the canary in the coal mine. Don't let this happen here. That's why I'm saying don't sleep on this issue. The price isn't just your tax dollars, it's your freedom. Instead of wasting billions on gun control that solves nothing, we need to address real issues like mental health, inner city violence, and gun safety education. That's what defund gun control is all about. Divesting our resources from useless gun control and putting them towards solutions that actually save lives while protecting our Second Amendment rights. So I need you to share this video with as many people as possible and help get the truth out there. Also, if you want to support this movement, check out the Defund Gun Control merchandise that I have at shop.mrcolionnoir.com. I have them in shirts, hats, and drinkware. And every purchase helps spread the message that real solutions don't come from violating our rights. One thing's for certain and two things are for sure. Politicians and tech giants don't want gun content to be recommended to you. And we're all fighting this culture war together. Now you can help do your part by liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, but most importantly, sharing this video with at least one person. Together we can stop the suppression of our 2A rights. And don't forget to click the link in the description section of this video for the products that I mentioned in this video.